If someone is feeling a bit cranky, a bit too short, what's the next course of action from there? Is it, well, look, I've got to pull back on the training. Do I need to throw in a recovery day? And that's really difficult when you're trying to drive towards an event and you've got a structured program. I think it can be very, very easy to then fall into that, oh, I'm going to squeeze an extra session in here and I'll try and get a little bit more sleep, and you start playing jigsaw with that against all the challenges you go in life. So it's quite hard. What would you recommend in terms of some advice in that area to try and cut through the mood and get back on balance?
It's a great question. It's a big question. It's going to be contextualized to everyone's individual circumstances. But I think a general sound piece of advice would be reduce the training workload. And how does an athlete do that? Well, of course, there's 100 ways that can be done. That can be reduce some intensity out of some sessions, drop a session, reduce the length of a session, but somehow find a way to reduce the workload. And I think if someone is feeling a little bit flat, like we just spoke about, or any of those mood indicators, any of those other physiological signs that we mentioned earlier there, Ross, if they're occurring, then be fair to yourself and don't just change things by an hour a week. Give it a good pullback. Drop a chunk out of that training workload. Let your body see if it can spark back up, for want of a better term. And remember what leading sports scientist Shona Halson says, and that is that the only training we're benefiting from is the training we're recovering from. So it's okay if you're tired and you do not feel like going running that morning. Perhaps you're better to stay in bed. Now, there's times when you've got to push yourself, but we're well past a society that snooze and lose. It's now sort of been shifted towards sleep in and win, which is a nice shift.
And that might be a really nice pathway for it if the mood is just one of these really important but sometimes secret indicators. Give some time to let that mood recuperate. It may just be a little bit of sleep. It may be a stressful situation. And it may even mean that, look, get some rest now and later in the day. You might certainly have bounced back, or, grab a good sleep tonight. Don't push that session too late. If you've been pushing it all day and then tomorrow morning, you might feel like you can actually put back into that session and kick on from there.
Yeah, it's good for people just to give themselves permission to be a bit kinder to themselves. Sometimes I think we're not very flexible with listening to how we're feeling and we just push on through, and I don't think it's always smart.